Hi, and welcome back to Module 3 in Train Smart. My name is Greg Roulette, and throughout this program, we've been joined by Steve Long, the owner and program design specialist for Complete Fitness Results. And Steve is also the co-author of the new book, Fit Formula. And throughout this program, Steve's been sharing with us how to work out smart while also working out hard to get the results that we desire in our lives. And in Module 2, Steve really broke down how to get a screen to determine what your body really needs. In Module 3, it's all about creating a true workout program. And here in this section, we're going to take what we know about what our body needs, and we're going to start to design or really create a complete workout program. So, Steve, first, what is wrong with most people's workout programs?
We touched on this in the earlier modules, but the biggest thing I see in most people's programs is that they're doing things above their level. They're not doing things that are effective for their bodies. So it's either something that might be too difficult or something that's just not called for. So doing the wrong thing, and it's just a matter of just not knowing. And we talked about ways to make sure that you do know exactly what you need to start your workout program. Screen and building that solid base, and that's where we're going from here.
That's great. And, as we get started with this module, it's really about reinforcement of some of the qualities that you've been speaking about throughout this program. And, once you know what's wrong with the program, how do you start to recorrect that? And what really makes up a great workout program?
I think what makes up a great program, I always say the best trainers are the trainers that have attention to detail. So not just a gross random picking of exercises, so attention to detail, customization for that particular client, balance, so making sure that the workout is, as far as the strength training, is balanced as far as muscular balance, not just balance as far as not falling over, but quad to glute, front of the body, the back of the body, upper of the body to the lower body, strength training to cardio, tissue quality to strength training, all those things, balancing out a program is really important. But I think attention to detail and customization are the most important things. The workout's got to be customized for you, and then the attention to details, as far as form, making sure that form is perfect, because the better you hone in on doing the basic things well, you don't need to go into the fancy, super advanced things to get the results. You can just really focus in on the attention to detail of the basic stuff and get phenomenal results that way without running up that risk of injury.
I like that a lot. And as we go through this third module, we're going to break down the 6 critical elements that you mentioned in your book, The Fit Formula, as to what your workout program really needs to contain. And the first of those critical elements is tissue quality. So, Steve, what do we need to know about tissue quality, and how can we incorporate this element into our workouts?
Tissue quality, to me, is huge, and it's really looked over by a lot of trainers, but as the industry becomes more advanced, it's starting to become more and more common. So a lot of people will stretch and do mobility exercises before they work out, but if the tissue quality isn't the way it needs to be, when I say tissue, I mean muscle tissue, fascia, everything that makes up the body. If your body's restricted by knots and trigger points and things like that, all the stretching in the world isn't going to restore that muscle to its original length. You need to work those knots out. And massage is great. Manual therapy from physical therapists, chiropractors, and such is a great idea. But it really is something that needs to be addressed every day, and especially before every workout. So it's really not practical to go to a massage therapist before every single workout and every single run and every time you're active. So we do self-massage techniques at Complete Fitness Results, and that's using foam rollers, tennis balls, softballs, any type of different densities of balls, sticks, like rolling pin type sticks, to help massage out any of the restrictions, in the fascia in the body, any of those trigger points, any tight spots, to make sure that you get all that stuff worked out of the muscle tissue and fascia before you go into any corrective exercise or mobility to work, to make sure that that corrective exercise and mobility work is going to get the most bang for the buck, and it's actually going to be effective. So that's why tissue quality to me is a must before every workout. You want to make sure that your body is moving as good as possible during that workout, and this is just another way to make sure that happens.
So we're going to start with tissue quality, and the second critical element as we move forward is corrective exercise, and this has to do with working out your weakest link in your body. So what are you really trying to accomplish with these exercises?
With these exercises, we're basically trying to restore the body to its original condition. So just like you would restore an old car, we're trying to restore bodies. If in your car, for example, your front tire had 15 pounds of pressure and the rest had 40, eventually your suspension would wear out and stuff would start to break on the car. So this is basically just putting air in that tire. This is, working on the things that we found were your weakest links to try to bring those up over time, so eventually they're no longer a weakest link and your body is functioning the way it should be. In the best case scenario, over a period of time, all the weakest links would be worked out and you would be pretty functional and you wouldn't have to do a whole lot of corrective exercise. Maybe one or two things that just to kind of get your body balanced out before the workout. So two things I'm looking for there. Long-term, complete elimination of the weakest link or dysfunction or compensatory movement pattern. And then B, I'm trying to make sure that your body, once again, is in the best possible condition, best possible situation for good quality movement without compensation before the workout begins. We started that with tissue quality, and then going into the corrective exercises, we're really sinking that home, making sure that we can get you squared away before your workout to perform your best.
Really, really powerful. And now the third of the 6 critical elements is an effective warm-up. And now, Steve, why is warming up so important, and what are some ways or some exercises that we can perform to really have an effective warm-up?
Warming up is huge. And I think what a lot of people have in mind when I think warm-up is maybe hopping on a treadmill or elliptical for 5 or 10 minutes and getting your heart rate up before you start exercising. That's not an effective warm-up. That's not an all-encompassing warm-up. So the reason when we do warm-ups, we're not only focusing on heart rate, but we're focusing on overall mobility. We're focusing on core stability. We're focusing on every joint in the body. And then we're also, last but not least, focusing on increasing the heart rate. So instead of doing just like jogging for 5 minutes, what we want to do is some good quality mobility exercises. Now, if those exercises also work on your weakest link, that's great. But at this point in the workout, it's more general, like just light stretching things are good. Hip mobility type exercises like leg circles, crossing the arms, windmills, things like that. They're going to help with mobility, and then we're also going to do some stability stuff like planks, whatnot. We're also going to do some basic body weight exercises, maybe squats, maybe lunges, things like that in really good form in order to kind of just get the body prepped and ready for the workout. So we did the tissue quality that broke everything up. Then we did our corrective exercises to bring our weakest link up to par. And now we're just kind of putting the icing on the cake here with the warm-up to make sure everything's mobile, everything's firing correctly, everything's nice and strong, and the heart rate's up also. So you're completely ready to take on a quality power and strength section of your workout.
That's great. I think this is really powerful, what you're helping everyone realize by creating this true workout program, and you really led yourself into the next section, which is creating that workout for power and strength, and that's the fourth part of the 6 critical elements. So can you talk about the power and strength element and maybe some movements that we can perform when we're getting started?
So once again, this section is really should be based off the screen also. So no compensatory pattern should ever be loaded. So, for example, if one of the screens is the deep squat test, and when you squat, you don't have the ability to squat all the way down, there's a compensation in your squat. Like maybe you can't go all the way down, maybe you lean forward, maybe all your weight goes to one side. There's a compensation there because of an issue, and maybe your hips, knees, ankles, a lot of different things could cause the compensation. But say there's a compensation. If there's a compensation in your squat, we definitely want to make sure you're not doing loaded squats. So if your strength program has back squats, but you don't have the ability to effectively squat, in a good movement pattern, you're just going to make that movement pattern worse and worse, causing more and more compensation and causing eventual pain, injury, or just lack of results. You're doing the squats, but since it's a bad squat, you're not getting any results out of the squat. So that's why that's important to get that screen and to know what exercises you should pick. As far as, the exercises we prefer, we like, full body, multi-joint exercises that mimic, basic movement patterns. So squats, push-ups, deadlifts, chin-ups, rows, planks, all those exercises are full body exercises that would help you in life. It would help you in life or sport. And we train athletes and we train people to become athletes in life. So either way, those exercises are going to be the best for you, but yet at the same time, we want to make sure that we're doing the right exercises for your body based upon your screen.
I really like that, the power and strength component of it. And once you get that down, the fifth step is to conditioning. But we're not really just talking about jogging a few miles, right?
No, we're not. And this is where, this is where intensity is important. Intensity is important during the strength and power session also. It's important during the entire workout, but this is where you really want to get crazy and just let loose on your conditioning portion of your workout. It's when you want to get a super sweat going on and get your heart pounding and your lungs burning and get after it. So I prefer intervals, like time intervals, 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off, things like that. So that way you can really kick up the intensity of your exercises by going at it hard, but then you have some time for your core to rest, and so that way you're not doing any hardcore exercises under too high of fatigue because you got a little rest period in. At the same time, you can keep the intensity high during your work periods and do some pretty cool exercises. So like kettlebell swings, training ropes, hammer slams, hitting like the big tires with the sledgehammers, jumping rope, any types of bounding. All those things are great for conditioning to put into circuits. So, and those are interval circuits. So maybe 20 seconds of kettlebell swings, 30 seconds rest, 20 seconds of conditioning ropes, 30 seconds rest. And going through circuits like that, a lot more functional for your body. I mean, swings and ropes and swinging hammers and jumping, those are all things that are going to train your body in a much better way than just repetitive motion of jogging over and over again. It's a lot more functional. It applies to real life a lot better, and more so, it's just funner. Jogging is great if you like it and you're not quad dominant or you don't have hip issues, but what I've seen is with my clientele is a lot better results and a lot more fun out of doing some different types of conditioning circuits instead of your average just steady state cardio.
I think that's really powerful what you just shared, is because most people think of cardio as just jogging a few miles, and you really put it into perspective some exercises you can do to really get that heart rate going, but also having a good time and also really becoming a balanced part of your true workout program. And the last element that we're going to talk about here is you really talk about doing some sort of cool down or flexibility movements. Now, what are we trying to do here to balance out our complete workout program?
The cool down is important to let your heart rate just slowly go down instead of a big crash. That's better for your body that way. Additionally, I'd hate to see someone go from hardcore, intervals with heart rate pounding, high intensity, directly to sitting in their car and driving their car away, So a cool down is important to just kind of overall let your body come back down to its natural state. So once again, I think this is a good time for some general stretching and mobility exercises. So if you do some stuff that relates back to your screen for mobility, that's great. If you don't have a lot of mobility issues, this is just some good time for some nice cool down stretches, maybe like some yoga type poses and things like that, to just kind of finish it off slowly and bring your heart rate down without just that basically hitting a wall stop sign type effect. Good time to basically work on posture. So any exercises that will help, any stretches and things like that help with your posture. So you walk away from your workout feeling tall and feeling good and feeling cooled down and just overall having that great feeling of an accomplished workout instead of that feeling of I just got smashed.
That's great. Again, that's a really, really powerful thing that many people just really neglect to put into a complete workout program. And, Steve, right now we've talked about all 6 critical elements that your workout program needs to contain. And what I want to do as we wrap up this third module is I want to put it all together because we've really covered a lot over the last few minutes. And what I want you to do is I want to see if you can take us through a situation or a workout or maybe a client that you worked with that you put all the 6 elements together into a workout and started to see some great results.
Let's go back to the marathoner again for this example. I know a lot of people are long-distance runners, so I like to use this example just so you can get as much out of this as possible. Going through each element of the program design, as far as the marathoner is concerned, tissue quality is huge for the marathoner for quads and TFLs and calves. So a lot of times as you run over and over and over again, those areas get super tight and super restricted. They have a lot of hot spots in there, a lot of knots and things like that. So sometimes when runners have pain, just the tissue quality alone will help take them out of pain. So hitting those legs and the important regions, spend a lot of time on those quads, TFLs, calves, is going to be really important for the runner. So we start the workout program with that. Moving into corrective exercise, most likely we're going to see quad dominance again and calves. So we're going to have some exercises that will mobilize the hip flexors and the quads to help loosen that up, stretch that area out, get it opened up. And then we want to work the glutes hardcore in that corrective exercise portion. So we want to do some basic isolation glute exercises to help try to balance that out and get the quads kind of caught up with, or the glutes caught up with the quads, I should say. So we worked out those knots in the quads and the TFLs and the calves. We start to stretch those areas and mobilize those areas to get them back to original. And now we want to strengthen the glutes to make sure that, and the core, the abs, to make sure that everything is balanced and functioning correctly. From there, we go into a warm-up. Once again, working on stuff that's going to get the heart rate up, but again, stretch out those quads. So we might do quad walks, things like that for the quads. We might do, exercises for the glutes to stay away from the quads a little bit in the warm-up in order to get the heart rate up and get everything mobilized. And then we move on to the strength training, which would be really, really hardcore focused in on good quality posture, because a lot of times runners will lose their pelvic posture. So we're going to focus in on posture. We're going to focus in, once again, on those glutes and hips and not so much the quads. We want to focus in on balancing all those imbalances out throughout the lower body. So that way the runner is not only going to be less likely for injury there, but the performance is going to be much higher because now the posterior chain of the body is working correctly, whereas it was just the anterior portion of the body that was working correctly. So now we've got the body restored. And then on the conditioning, for a long-distance runner, they get plenty of conditioning from that energy system. So we want to definitely do intervals with a runner to switch up the different energy systems used. So once again, non-quad dominant exercises like kettlebell swings, hammer swings, and ropes are perfect for a runner to use because they're not necessarily using the quads as the prime mover. They're using the glutes. They're avoiding that area to help balance it out and getting the heart rate up tremendously in the process. And then once again, just kind of cooling down, I would continue to stretch those quads, TFLs, and calves, and to bring the heart rate down.
Steve, that is a great program, and I think that everyone listening can really see how you break it down for each of the 6 steps and create one true workout program that's really going to maximize their results and help them achieve the goals that they want in their health and in their optimal fitness. And what we're going to do now is I want everyone to go through their action guides and look at each of the 6 critical elements and look at how your workout incorporates these elements in your daily routines. And then I want you to come back in Module 4 as Steve shares with you how to build an optimal fitness system, because it's not just about the workout. It's about the other elements that play into your fitness system that's going to ultimately give you the results that you desire. So go through your action guide and then join us again in Module 4.